So I got playing this shitty game with Nick today.
This game has a shitty name.
It's something called like Angry Video Game Nerd.
Angry
Man.
Atari Sega Nerd.
And like, there's too many spikes, too many ways to die.
1,000 ways to die.
It's just like playing an NES classic of yore, you know. It's not boring or anything, it's just
A game.
that kicks you in the ass.
And reams its fist up your arse.
Yeah. But I have to say, I like the homages to
Older video games.
yeah, all the classic games, the Castlevania, plus the porno I never knew that was on the NES, and
Actually Atari porn, but yes.
yeah. We didn't get to the other levels, but there's a lot of I feel like there's not so much a lot of jumping in this Angry Video Game Nerd game as much as like not instant of deathing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least from the Castlevania stage. It's sort of like, jump at the time we want you to jump or you'll die, but don't worry, we'll let you have infinite lives. Cause
If you have it on easy mode.
Yeah, I couldn't see myself playing it on normal or hard. Like, it makes me start to think like, how hard is the new Battletoads game on hard if this is this hard? I'd say it's a lot of fun. I mean, yeah, it's frustrating, but I feel like it's not too frustrating. Like, I love, this is sort of the time period where video games had like a defining look, like the NES style, and like people are still going back to this kind of style, like NES SNES days.
Because it just hits that right amount of either that or because there are so many people who grew up in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, that's what it's feeling like. This, you're seeing a lot more games around that are throwing back to this era because like this is when they grew up. This is the games they played.
So it makes me wonder what will happen in 20 years when they're starting to do stuff that we've seen a generation or two ago.
Well, I looked at the PlayStation 5 demos, and I'm not sure if it'll be the same thing, because while those games look amazing, I'm not sure if people will have that sort of... It's sort of like, there's a certain amount of personality I feel from like that age. I wouldn't say it's the golden age. I would say like arcade games, and then this era, and then now we're in sort of like all the CG graphics, but I feel like
everything has to be a movie quality.
Yeah, like it looks like a movie, but I feel like when you're playing it looks great, but I feel like it's not as memorable.
Yeah.
Because it's more perfect.
And the only way you can make it memorable is if you exceedingly fail at one place.
Yeah. But I feel like there's a certain personality with this sort of level design, and you don't see as many games designed like this, like unless they're throwbacks to something that came out like 10 to 30 years ago. But I thought this was really well designed, honestly. Like for games that just have like a brand slapped on, like I feel like, I don't know if he had a huge influence on this game.
I think it's more like they just made a game based off him and he just gave them his blessing.
Really? I don't know, it just feels like whoever designed this, like they knew enough about like level design. Like yeah, it's frustrating, but like it's not like I'm going to rip the game cartridge out of my Super Nintendo frustrating.
Yeah, and they do make nods to like older games.
That's why I felt like it wasn't like some random person like just got brought in. I felt like they sort of
knew what they were
doing. Nodding to. Like, you're not playing for this for the graphics. The music's okay, but it's more like the visuals
and the humor.
Like the personality and humor, and like, you know, the Super Scope gun.
You have like power-ups that call back to the Angry Video Game Nerd.
The Zapper gun from the NES days, the Duck Hunt. I thought this was really well polished. Like, as I said, like it could have just been a game they just threw out, they didn't care about. I felt this game. Personally, I felt this game had more personality than Jay and Silent Bob. Like, Jay and Silent Bob was good for what it was.
But didn't have, like...
But it was a little bit like, we just wanted to get a game out for the time being. This feels like this game will
stand the test of time.
yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Just I found it was tough, but not like I wouldn't want to play it again. And I think it was usually you find it for $5, so I'd say for $5 on sale, like I'd definitely say pick this up. I wouldn't say it's a forgotten gem of sorts, but there's not a lot of games that are like $5 and they're this funny
and original.
entertaining. Yeah, and like especially for a game that, like to use an example, the Penny Arcade games. I've never played them, but I heard like they were sort of like built together and not like a cohesive thing. This feels like it needed to be made. Like after having played it, it feels like even though it's a game based off of a reviewer reviewing games,
Yo, dog.
which is funny, it actually feels like a genuine game, and it's got its own style. And I feel like a lot of the games that come out like after the fact to sort of like cash in.
It's really cool to like see all the cool nods to the thing. Like the
Yeah.
boss was actually based off an old video game the Angry Video Game Nerd reviewed.
Oh really? Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, Dr.
I
Jekyll
felt
was-
a monster in my pocket. That's what I felt like. It was a nod to that, just from how it looked. But yeah, you're right. It probably was. But that's just funny that it's like
self-referential.
That's what I was trying to get at. Because you don't see that so much, especially on Steam, in particular. But like just in general, games are not. I feel like the Messenger tried to do that to try and be like self-aware, and for me, that didn't work. Like adding Ninja Gaiden and that sort of style humor, it didn't work for me. But I guess some people did. But here it works for me.
Yeah. So I think it just depends on how exactly it goes about it.
Yeah, I think the way that it was delivered. So, anyways,
I give this a 8 out of 10.
I would give this an 8.5. Not just because it's like the time period that I grew up. I just feels like the game that you're getting for $5. Yeah, it's frustrating, but like I feel like it's enjoyable. Just I want to see more and like what's going to happen next. But we have so many games this week and
so little time.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's how it goes. So
on to the next one.
All right, Majora's Mask up the ass. That's what I say.